Thank you, Senator Ernst. Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Phelan, Admiral Kilby, General Smith, thank you for being here. Secretary Phelan, I want to take the opportunity to follow up on a question I had during your nomination hearing regarding the SLCM-N, the nuclear-armed sea-launched cruise missile. So during your nomination hearing, you stated you hadn't been fully read into the program, so you couldn't make an informed comment on the topic. Now, having been in the job for a few months and having looked at the program, I want to make sure we're clear on the direction of the system and understand the cost-benefit analysis in fielding this weapon system. If the Navy fields the SLCM-N, it would likely require removing conventional weapons off of the Virginia-class submarines, meaning torpedoes. And there'd also be required a whole host of significant structural and procedural changes aboard the boats, which would cost time, money, and sacrificing one of our greatest advantages that we have in the Western Pacific, which is our conventional submarine capability. So, Mr. Secretary, what do you think is more likely in Indo-PACOM in the Western Pacific, a conventional or a nuclear conflict?
Thanks, Senator Kelly, for the question. I think I'm going to defer to the Admiral on this one, since he is the military expert as to how he thinks that's going to transpire. But what I would say to you as it relates to SLCM, still evaluating that, trying to evaluate candidly the entire force structure and posture, how our manned to unmanned should look like, what are the different programs we've got. I think we are seeing in real time combat changing very quickly.
Yeah, well, Mr. Secretary, I'll give you my opinion on this.
Please.
A conventional conflict is much more likely in the Western Pacific instead of a nuclear conflict. So do you think fielding a submarine with a tactical nuclear weapon capability will contribute to integrated deterrence inside the first island chain and in a Taiwan scenario?
Again, Senator, I think a lot depends on how that conflict takes place, what exactly they do, how we respond, and you could make the argument that SLCM gives the president more options. You could also argue it gives him less options.
All right, so let me transition here to Admiral Kilby. Admiral, do you think it's more likely we have a conventional or a nuclear conflict in the Western Pacific?
I think a conventional conflict is more likely, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, well, thank you. Do we have another option to field a tactical nuclear weapon at sea?
I think there's multiple options. It's hard to do all options at the same time in an affordable manner.
Well, let me ask you this, Admiral. Does it seem more complex and more complex and costly to integrate SLCM-N to a Virginia-class submarine, or would maybe a simpler and less costly option being a B-61 aboard an aircraft carrier?
I haven't studied the aircraft carrier position. I don't know the cost implications to create a nuclear program on an aircraft carrier. I know
but Admiral, is it true that in the 1990s we had B-61s and B-47s and B-57s, B-43s aboard aircraft carriers?
I believe so. And also some version of nuclear weapons on our surface ships, that capability as well.
And how do you, Admiral, how do you think the Russians and Chinese would respond if we did add SLCM-N to Virginia-class subs?
Well, I think they would have to consider it. I'm actually a proponent of that if we chose to do that.
Yeah, and I am not opposed to, having a tactical nuclear option at sea. My big concern is how it affects our conventional submarine force. We've got a significant overmatch with the Chinese, and this is kind of hard for me to say as a naval aviator that, our submarine force is probably our biggest overmatch I'd like to think our airplanes are, but it's pretty clear to me our conventional submarine force is the overmatch that we currently need. And integrating SLCM to a Virginia-class submarine is incredibly complex. It's going to be costly, and I think it's going to cost us in our ability to, execute undersea conventional warfare against the Chinese or any adversary. And there are other options. B-61 was deployed aboard the aircraft carrier that I served on, and many others. And my sense is, I haven't studied it either, but my sense is, F-18s can carry B-61s, getting them aboard an aircraft carrier, if that's what we really want and need for deterrence, we could probably do that at a much reduced cost, and at the same time preserve the conventional submarine force that we have today. Thank you, Admiral.
Thank you very much, Senator.